The chandeliers of the Royal Crescent Ballroom glittered like constellations trapped in crystal, casting fractured light across silk gowns and polished marble. A string quartet played something soft and expensive near the stage. Waiters floated through the crowd carrying trays of champagne that sparkled almost as brightly as the guests. Everything looked flawless. Everything looked curated. Everything looked like it belonged to my older brother, Adrian. I stood near one of the tall pillars at the back of the hall, smoothing the invisible creases from my charcoal gray dress. It wasn't designer. It wasn't dramatic. It was deliberate, elegant, simple, forgettable. My mother had called me the night before. "Please don't overdress," she'd said gently. "Tomorrow is about Adrian and his bride. Let's not create unnecessary comparisons." Comparisons. As if they hadn't existed our entire lives. Adrian had always been the golden one. The visionary. The ambitious son who founded a tech startup before he turned 30 and sold it for millions. Tonight, he was marrying the daughter of a powerful investor. The merger of two impressive families disguised as romance. And me? I ran a small catering service. That was the version they told people. An aunt drifted toward me, diamonds swinging from her ears. "So, Maya," she said with a thin smile, already glancing past me for someone more important, "are you still cooking?" "I own a hospitality company," I replied calmly. "How sweet," she said, patting my arm. "It's nice you have something to keep you busy." Nice. That word again. The polite dismissal wrapped in sugar. Across the room, I heard my father's booming laugh. He stood surrounded by investors and family friends. "Adrian always aimed high," he was saying proudly. "He never thought small." Someone asked about me. My father waved a hand casually, not even turning around. "Oh, Maya? She does catering. Small events. Keeps herself occupied. Small events. Occupied." The words didn't stab anymore. They settled instead, like stones I had long ago learned to carry. They didn't know about the 3 a.m. mornings I spent in industrial kitchens perfecting menus. They didn't know about the first wedding I catered alone because I couldn't afford staff. They didn't know about the contracts I studied at night or the negotiation workshops I attended on borrowed money. They didn't know that Saffron House Hospitality wasn't just catering. It managed luxury event planning, corporate galas, private aviation dining, and 5-star hotel banquet operations across 3 cities. They only knew what sounded small. Across the ballroom, Adrian looked radiant in his tailored tuxedo, confidence effortless as ever. He caught my eye and smiled, lifting his glass in a subtle toast. I smiled back. I loved my brother. That didn't mean I didn't live in his shadow. My mother tapped her glass for attention. "We are so proud of our son," she began warmly. "Adrian has always reached higher than we imagined. He saw opportunity where others saw risk." Applause thundered through the hall. "And of course," she added lightly, almost as punctuation, "we're proud of Maya too. She works hard. She just caters, but work is work." Laughter rippled gently around the tables. "Just caters." I smiled. "Work is work." "Yes. But vision is vision. And dignity is dignity." As Adrian and his bride took the floor for their first dance, I made a quiet promise to myself. One day, they would say my name without minimizing it. One day, no one would put just in front of what I built. The music grew louder as the evening deepened. I slipped out onto the balcony overlooking the city skyline. The air was cool, steadying. Below, the city shimmered, rooftop lounges, hotel terraces, glass towers glowing against the night. Spaces my company had designed. Events my team had executed. Celebrations people remembered for years. "You shouldn't let them talk about you like that." The voice was calm, observant. I turned. Daniel stood near the railing, jacket unbuttoned, bow tie loosened slightly. My brother's best friend since university. Co-founder of Adrian's former company. The quiet strategist behind the flashy success. You're supposed to be inside, I said carefully. Your partner just got married. He smiled faintly. I needed air. Silence hovered between us. I didn't realize your family reduces you like that, he said. They don't reduce me, I replied. They define me. Incorrectly. He studied me for a moment. You're the CEO of Saffron House Hospitality, aren't you? My heartbeat shifted. Yes. My firm just signed a multi-year contract with your company. I blinked. Your firm? He nodded. After Adrian sold the startup, I founded Crestline Ventures. We've invested in 6 luxury hotels and 2 event venues this year. I knew Crestline Ventures. We had secured their flagship hotel account last month. You knew I was the founder? I asked quietly. I research leadership before I sign contracts, he said simply. When I saw your name, I was impressed. Impressed. No one inside that ballroom had used that word about me. My parents don't know, I admitted. He exhaled slowly. That explains a lot. You're loyal to my brother, I reminded him gently. I am, he said. Then softer, that doesn't mean I'm blind. The city lights reflected in his eyes. You built something powerful, he added. You should stop hiding it. I'm not hiding, I said. But even as I said it, I knew. I wasn't hiding my success. I was shrinking it. The next morning, the wedding celebration continued with a formal brunch. Polished tables. White orchids. A grand projection screen for a sentimental slideshow. This time, I didn't dress to disappear. I wore a tailored ivory suit, structured, sharp, unapologetic. My heels echoed across the marble as I entered. Conversations paused. Eyes followed. My mother approached immediately. Why are you dressed like that? She asked, tense. Like what? I replied evenly. Like you're presenting something. Maybe I am. Before she could respond, Daniel stepped toward the stage microphone. I'd like to share something before we continue, he announced. Guests murmured. The screen flickered to life. Instead of childhood photos, a sleek gold emblem appeared. Saffron House Hospitality. Confusion rippled through the room. As many of you know, Daniel continued, Crestline Ventures recently expanded into luxury hospitality infrastructure. Our operational success relies heavily on one strategic partner. Charts replaced the logo. Revenue growth. Expansion timelines. Client testimonials. Photos of immaculate hotel ballrooms and rooftop galas. My father leaned forward slowly. The founder and CEO of that partner company, Daniel said clearly, is someone in this room. Silence deepened. He turned toward me. Maya. Every head followed his gaze. I walked forward. Each step steady. Each breath controlled. I took the microphone. I started cooking in rented kitchens because we needed income, I said. Because no job is beneath dignity. The room was still. Yes, I continued, meeting my parents' stunned expressions. I cater events. I design experiences. I manage hotel banquet operations and corporate galas. My company employs over 50 staff across 3 cities. A quiet clap began near the investor table. Then another. Then many. Applause rose, not polite, not forced. Real. My mother's eyes shimmered. My father looked as if the ground had shifted beneath him. Adrian watched me with an expression I couldn't immediately read. This wasn't revenge through humiliation. This was revelation. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't standing behind my brother's success. I was standing beside it. The applause lingered long after I stepped away. Relatives who had dismissed me now approached carefully. I had no idea. You should have told us. This is remarkable. My mother found me first. Why didn't you say anything? She asked softly. I tried, I said. You never asked beyond, are you still cooking? She looked down. My father joined us. We thought it was small, he admitted. You thought it sounded small, I corrected gently. You never looked closer. Across the room, Adrian approached. For a moment, I braced myself. Then he smiled. You could have told me you were outperforming half the hospitality market, he said quietly. I blinked. You're not upset? He shook his head. I'm proud of you, he said. I just wish I'd known sooner. Years of invisible competition dissolved in that single sentence. I never wanted to compete, I said. You weren't, he replied. We just let people compare us. In the weeks that followed, everything shifted. Investors requested meetings. Luxury brands reached out. Industry publications featured my company. But the sweetest change wasn't external. It was internal. I stopped downplaying my introductions. I run Saffron House Hospitality, I would say simply. No disclaimers. No shrinking. 1 month later, I sat in my corner office overlooking the skyline. New expansion contracts covered my desk. Daniel sat across from me, reviewing a proposal. You changed the narrative, he said. I smiled faintly. No, I replied, signing the final page. I stopped letting other people write it. Outside the window, the city gleamed. Hotels my company managed. Ballrooms my team transformed. Spaces people admired without ever questioning who built them. Eventually, my parents began introducing me differently. This is our daughter, my father would say now. She built one of the fastest growing hospitality companies in the region. No hesitation. And that was the real victory. Because sweet revenge isn't loud. It isn't cruel. It isn't tearing someone else down. It's standing tall in the same room where you were once made small. And realizing you no longer need anyone's permission to shine.